Okay, I think we are now live and I can get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Nikodem Szumilo. I'm an associate professor at University College London, also the director of the Bartlett Real Estate Institute, and I also run this program. I started this program some 4 years ago now. I'm not going to be running it next year. A colleague of mine is going to be taking over, but I will be teaching on the program. And today I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the program is, what we try to do, answer all your questions. Well, all the questions that I can answer. I'll do my best to answer the questions that you have. And hopefully this session is going to be useful to you in understanding how this program differs from everything else that you get to choose from, and why you should come, and why it's the best program in the world, at least in my humble opinion. Well, look, this is the faculty has been ranked as #1 in the world for the built environment. So I hope that gives you an idea of just how seriously we take it. There isn't a ranking of master programs in real estate. I wish there was, because I really genuinely think that our program would come out on top. But my understanding of how these programs work comes from my experience of running the program that LSE has. So before coming to UCL, I was at the London School of Economics. They also have a real estate program. And before that, I was at Cambridge University. They also have a real estate program. And then I came to UCL, set up this program, and I'm very excited with how it's going. The idea behind the program is it tries to combine analytical skills with solid fundamentals of how things work in practice, because it turns out that the profession has a big demand for people with solid analytical skills that can then be applied to make informed investment decisions. So the idea is to combine theoretical knowledge that you can only get from world-leading academics, and we have a number of those in our department, with practical insights that you can get from the leading professionals and industry figures that come and speak on the program. So the focus essentially is on trying to give you the fundamentals of urban economics that are applicable to your real estate work or to your future real estate jobs. Now, this is not a program that is pure economics, so we're only going to give you the essence of what you really desperately need as a real estate professional. One thing I have learned in my career as a professor is that of all the interesting things that we discover as academics, the things that are applicable to people like you, to real estate professionals, are very limited, and these are very specific. These are a very specific subset of the scientific knowledge that academics discover. So what we have done is we distilled the academic knowledge into a short module on real estate and urban economics that gives you everything you absolutely need to know, but nothing else. The idea is to be efficient, and the idea is to make sure that at the end of the program, you don't become economists, you become real estate professionals with enough of an understanding of urban and real estate economics to do your job really, really well. And then we try to build on that, and we try to introduce you to advanced research methods, critical reasoning, differentiating between correlation and causality. And then we try to make sure that we develop skills that let you analyze the market using data that you can collect yourself, or that you can find somewhere that makes the data readily available. And then you can use this data to produce analysis that is your own, that is something that makes you add value to whatever project that you work on. So the way we do this is we start with modules on real estate economics and data analysis. These are the two fundamental modules in the first term. So, of course, real estate economics is going to teach you about how the market works according to an economist, Whereas data analysis is probably the hardest module on the program, but also it's our competitive advantage. Because this is the module where you will learn how to analyze data, not just from the academic perspective, not just from the econometric perspective, but also you will get industry speakers come in and tell you about the challenges that they face. And then the next module you're going to take is going to be about valuation techniques. It is a non-RICS accredited valuation module that I designed myself. And the reason it's not RICS accredited is because it's based on what professionals should be doing rather than what professionals have been doing in the past. And basically what we did is we sat down with industry professionals and other academics and designed a module that is teaching you what is currently the best way, according to the state-of-the-art knowledge of valuing a property, and how we should be doing this according to the latest science. So we designed this module to try to lead the world in terms of the practice of valuation, rather than just teach people how surveyors do it and the way they have been doing it in the past. There are modules on asset management, there are modules on real estate investment, and they are all led by leading experts in the field. The idea is that each module has a person in charge that is, in my opinion, the best person that we can offer to lead that specific module. Who is it for? Well, hopefully it is for people like you. An ideal candidate is somebody with a university degree, with some experience of university level mathematics and or statistics. It doesn't have to be recent experience. It's perfectly fine if the last time you did statistics was 5 years ago or 10 years ago at university and you haven't done it since. What we are trying to find in your application is evidence of the fact that you are capable of working with equations, because a lot of the data analysis that we will be trying to show you, and a lot of the investment analysis, is going to be using the mathematical language of equations. So that means that if you don't like equations, if you find it difficult to think through how equations work and to think through the sort of abstract logic of equations, you will struggle on this program. However, if you have done the very basic mathematical courses at university level, you'll be fine. For example, if you know what a linear regression is, you will be absolutely fine and you don't need to worry about this. The minimum requirement is an upper class honours degree, so that's a 2-1 in the UK system, or an international equivalent. Ideally from a numerical degree. If it's a non-numerical degree, but you have done a numerical module, that's also perfectly fine. If you don't have a numerical degree, but you have been working as a real estate analyst using the techniques that we look for, then it's of course absolutely fine for you to apply to the program. You definitely meet the entry requirements. As I said, if you can show us that you know what a linear regression is, that's basically the kind of level that we are trying to get from people as an entry requirement, because that's what we're going to be building on. And it's not that we are expecting everybody to be an amazing researcher. It's just if you don't meet the requirement, you simply are going to struggle to complete the assignments that we will put before you on this program. Okay, so now that I told you about what we do and what we expect from you, I'm more than happy to tell you what you will get from us. The first thing you'll get is the in-depth understanding of how real estate markets work. We like to think that we have a really good mix of academic and professional skills. So we do have people that are dedicated academics, but we also have people who are professors of practice, people who have spent a lot of time in the industry. Then we will give you a set of analytical tools which are cutting-edge frameworks that will allow you to take data and, after applying those frameworks, to make informed investment decisions in a way that we consider to be state of the art. And finally, of course, we will give you data skills. The data skills are going to be based not just on the theory of analyzing data, but also on the practice. So we will give you data. We will ask you to analyze that data. Increasingly, with artificial intelligence, this is becoming significantly more interesting and useful. But you still need to understand exactly how this is done, and this is something we will offer. We do have subscriptions to data sources that we use, so there's plenty of data that we have that you get to play around with, and you get to do interesting things with that data. So when you graduate, the idea, of course, is that you get on either to study further or you get on to an amazing career in the industry. The Bartlett as a faculty has an amazing employability record. 96% of our graduates do find work or study further within first 15 months after graduation. So that's a really good result. We do have excellent industry connections. I already said plenty of amazing speakers come onto the program to speak to you, which doesn't just offer you the knowledge that they have, but it also offers you the networking opportunities that I think are truly incredible. The program itself is truly international. So this year we have 44 students from 22 countries. I'm very proud of that. It means that you get exposure to very different ways of thinking, very different ways of doing business, and a very interesting international network. It's hard to pin down top employers for this program specifically. The ones that you see on the screen are for the faculty, and this is because our graduates go on to very different roles. Some, of course, go into big investment banks, some go into private equity companies, some will go into small private equity shops here in London. Others will go into local government or real estate development. So it varies quite significantly. I already mentioned that the program is structured in a way that allows us to take you on a journey from laying down the foundations of real estate economics and finance with data analysis, and then we build on those foundations with more advanced methods and more advanced modules that are trying to mix the practice and the academic approach together. So this would be property investment analysis and real estate asset management. And then finally, the program culminates in a dissertation. And this is supposed to be an academically rigorous piece of research chosen on a real estate topic. And of course, we're academics, so we're very excited about that part of the program. But we also increasingly find that this gives our students an opportunity to explore a topic that they're interested in from a perspective that they find useful in the context of their career and in the context of the country that they are from. Naturally, we get a lot of dissertations on sustainability. This year, we also get a lot of dissertations on artificial intelligence, and we're very excited about that. It's a lot of fun to be working on that topic too. So you, of course, have seen fees and funding part of the website. So these are the fees that you get that you pay as a UK student or as an international student. You can do the program part-time. So if you choose to work in London, it is possible. It's hard, so we don't get many part-time students, just because it turns out that completing the program as a part-time student does require more of a commitment than many part-time students anticipate at the very beginning. So I'm not going to encourage you to do it part-time if you have the choice. If you don't, it's possible, and there are people who are able to do it. So if that's something of interest to you, as I said, it can be manageable with as long as you have enough of a commitment. There are scholarships available. UCL does provide scholarships. I am not the right person to ask about the financial support. So if you are interested, you should probably contact the recruitment office because I don't have good visibility on what we can offer in this particular space. So the application process, there is a £90 processing fee if you are applying to UCL. I think if you pay that fee, you get to make more than one application. We will ask you to write a personal statement. I don't really mind if you get AI to write it because I am looking for very specific evidence on that personal statement. And yes, I will read every single one that meets the entry requirement. So the way the process works is the application that you submit is going to be screened by somebody who determines whether it means whether it meets the entry requirements, and then it comes to me, and I will decide whether this is an application that we can make an offer on or not. The personal statement is an important part of it, but of course it's not the only part. In the personal statement, I am looking for evidence of your motivation, of your commitment, of your experience, and of your future plans. We are asking for a reference, and the good news is that this year it's the first year that we are only asking for one academic reference. So that's a reduced requirement that hopefully makes it a little bit easier for you to apply. Applications are considered on a rolling basis, and I try to make decisions on the applications that I get to see as quickly as I can, so within a couple of weeks after I receive them. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that you get a result very quickly because, as I said, it needs to be processed by somebody that decides whether you meet the entry requirements first. Then it comes to me. Then I make the decision. Then the office that will send you the offer needs to review it again. And then you will get the decision. So the process still takes a little bit of time, but we will get back to you as quickly as we can. Okay, so that's all I wanted to tell you about the program, and now I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that it's been interesting, and I hope that you're excited about the prospect of coming to UCL and meeting me in September. So let me have a look at chat. There's one there's one question in the Q&A section. What is the commitment like for a part-time student? For example, is it structured with evening tutorials, seminars, and recorded lectures? No. So the idea of doing this part-time is that you still need to take a day off from work on a day when there are lectures. And that usually means 2 days a week during term time. So the idea is that if you want to do the program part-time, you probably will have to take 2 days off work during term time. So that translates into 10, I would say maybe 10, 12 weeks of term time per year. So hopefully that answers the question. Any other questions? Okay, well, this seems pretty quiet. If you do have a question, please feel free to use the Q&A facility, the chat, or I don't know if you have the ability to unmute yourself and ask me directly, but if you do, go ahead. I'm more than happy to speak to you. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's another question. Hang on a minute. Oh, there's somebody with a bachelor in forestry engineering. Interesting. And then working for the development of Indonesia new capital, strong background in spatial analysis and GIS. Am I suitable? Look, as I said, if you know what the linear regression is, you're going to be absolutely fine. If you tell me that you have a strong background in spatial data analysis and GIS, I'd be surprised if you didn't know what it is. But with a strong background in GIS, I'm sure that you'll be fine, right? You do need to understand how equations work for GIS. So from what you give me in this really simple question, it sounds like you would be absolutely fine. You just need to make it very clear in your personal statement why you think you have the quantitative skills that we are looking for. From what you just said, you do have those skills. So yes, you would be suitable. I hope that answers the question. And then another question, how will I be successful on the program? Well, I'd like to think that you'd be very successful. I guess, look, it's one of those things that you get out what you put in, because we are going to do a lot of work to try to support you the best we can. So it's not just giving lectures and workshop. It's also a whole system of making sure that we take you on a journey that I've designed personally, from starting as a student in September to graduating somewhere in August, and learning everything along the way, from the foundations of real estate, through the analytical skills, through how the market works, to being ready for the job market. Now, the best way to be successful is to engage with everything. How successful will you be? Well, that really depends on you. And we've had students that went on to phenomenally successful careers in investment banking, in local government. So I guess, how will you be successful? I guess the experience of being successful would be having a great time, engaging with your colleagues, engaging with your academics, um, exploring London for all it has to offer in the real estate world, but also as a student experience, for as a city that offers an amazing student experience. Learning a lot about things you didn't really necessarily expected to learn, and then running out of time to learn more by the time the program is over, and you need to go on and start a job that you hopefully will be excited about. So I hope that gives you an idea of how we think of students doing well and being successful on the program. Thanks, Evangelius. That's a really interesting question. Anything else? Oh, there's one more. Hang on. Oh, lengthy one. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have two questions. With your experience at the LSC, what do you think is the biggest difference between them? And apart from the surveyor part, what difference does the RICS accreditation make in terms of careers? Okay, very good question. So this is just the first part of the question, and it already has like three sub questions. So let me address this one first, and then I'll move on to the second one. So the biggest difference between our program and the LSE program is that they require a first degree with microeconomics. We require a numerical degree, because they will focus on microeconomics. We will focus on data analysis and investment analysis, right? So that's the biggest difference. We are a lot more applied in terms of thinking about things, how things work in practice, than LSE. LSE will be a lot more focused on economics and a lot more focused on academic economics. We are a lot more focused on investment and finance, not exclusively, but a lot more than they are. And we are a lot more focused on how things work in practice. With regards to RICS accreditation, the only reason you want to be RICS accredited is because your job description requires this. Now, there aren't that many jobs that our graduates would like to do that require an RICS accreditation, but these would be limited to highly regulated positions, for example, as a surveyor, as a valuer for a very specific type of a role. Then you can still qualify for an RICS accreditation if you want to do it. Most of our graduates choose to pursue different roles, and this is what we encourage them to do just because of how restrictive RICS curriculum has become. So I hope that answers your question. And then the second part, you have mentioned about the screening process. I have previously inquired about proving numerical abilities as my undergraduate degree was in architecture, and you suggested to complete an online course. And I stand by that suggestion. I have completed and included the certificate in my application. Would that be considered as meeting the entry requirements at the screening process? Yes, absolutely. So as I said, we are not looking for people that have done maths as their first degree or computer science. We are looking for people who can show us that they have the skills they need to complete the assignments that we will require them to complete, that they can do well in the program. So if you can show me that you've completed that you have the necessary skills, I am absolutely happy to accept that as you meeting the entry requirement. So I hope that that answers your question. There's another question. Could you give the similarity and difference between the master degree and this master degree and the International Real Estate and Planning MSc at UCL? Of course, happy to do it. The clue is in the name, right? They both have real estate in the name, but actually they are very different programs because one is going to focus on planning and the sort of international implications of this, and the other one is going to focus on economics and investment and data analysis. So my program is very focused on real estate as something that is going to stem from the process of construction and is essentially a built asset, whereas international and planning is focusing on a different side of real estate. I can't speak too much about what they focus on because that's not something that I do on a regular basis. But essentially, think of this as one is based at the Bartlett School of Planning, and the other one is based in the Bartlett Real Estate Institute. They address the same topic from slightly two different perspectives. Our program is a lot more technical. Their program is going to be a lot more based on sort of the planning perspective on real estate. I hope that helps. Oh, another question. Oh, how many students applied last year and what were the notable elements in personal statements? So last year, I think we had maybe 8 students for every seat. No, 8 applications for every seat that we can offer. So that gives you what, 300 and something applications. And the notable elements in personal statements, like what I'm really looking forward to is evidence that you're interested in real estate, that you're passionate about the topic, that this is something that you understand is not a program on straight up finance or just a run-of-the-mill investment program. This is very much real estate. It's the biggest, the most exciting asset class in the world. And I want to see in your personal statement that you understand that this is that you are passionate about this and that you understand that this career is unique and you're not just applying to this program because you don't know what else to do. If you applying to this program and you want to convince me in your personal statement that I should accept you, tell me how you're going to add to the cohort. Tell me why your skills are suitable for you to be on this program and why you're excited to be here. So I hope it makes sense. I am often told that when you speak to me about real estate, you can see my enthusiasm for the field, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in your personal statement. I want you to show me that you're passionate about the field just as much as I am, and that you're ready to come into the classroom and show everybody else that this is what you want to do for a living and you're willing to engage into debates, discussions, and work with others to have an amazing career, because that's exactly the type of people that we're looking for. So hopefully that helps. Thank you very much for the question. Oh, there's another one. Hang on. Ha 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 ha. Are you able to specify the number of applications received so far? I'm able to. I'm not going to do it. Um, um, I think so far, this year is very different than last year. And so far, we received fewer applications than last year at this point in the year. Although last year we closed applications at the end of March, whereas this year applications are open until the end of August. One thing to note is we are making offers on a rolling basis. So if we continue making applications and we run out of um, space before August, we're going to close applications early, but we are making offers on a rolling basis. And as I said, so far we've received fewer than last year, but I think it's really difficult to compare. So hopefully that gives you enough information to be satisfied with my answer without disclosing information that I'm not supposed to disclose. Nice try. Any other questions? Well, in that case, thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to seeing your applications and hopefully meeting you in September. I hope it was worth your time, and I wish you a good rest of the day. Thank you very much.